Good morning, Slack Pack. Good morning, Slackers. Welcome back to my channel, Cerius Blaq with Cerius Blaq. I am your host, Cerius Blaq, and today I am doing another interview with a creative person. And it is my pleasure to introduce author Stephanie Williams. Say hello, Stephanie.
Hello, happy to be here.
And I said good morning because it is pretty much early morning for both of us, but we were dedicated to getting this done so we can tell you all the good things about Stephanie. She's wanted to share. I'm happy about it. You have no idea all the things that she's responsible for, and wait till you find out. First of all, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's the middle of the week, and Friday I'll be here, and maybe 8 to 7 business days, depending on how things go. And yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I keep hearing that too, that pattern that like when you're a creator, business days kind of seem to stack up into one day. Like there's like 3 business days per regular one business day.
hmm
Yeah.
Things that are due, what you think, like 2 weeks from now, or actually due yesterday. It's a fun time. You just never know.
Okay. Okay. I imagine that involves a lot of naps,
Like
periodic.
you would not believe, because I stopped fighting them, and I take them now,
Yeah.
because who am I kidding?
Right. Hey, look, I got a good audiobook. And
Yeah,
I set the sleep timer, and I'm in there like, all right, I'm gonna
I know
get
that's right.
10 minutes of adventure, and I'm out.
Yep.
As usual, I would love for you to tell my Slack Pack. That's what I call my group here, the Slack Pack or Slackers. Just a little bit about yourself. I don't. You don't have to go into the whole history. I know that everybody always asks you about all that, but like, just tell them about you a little bit and how dope you are, please.
All right, no pressure. So I am, as most of you might know, or maybe you don't, but this is my second career. I was a research scientist before this, to be more specific, electron microscopist, and I loved the work that I did, but my boss was terrible. So
Mm,
yeah, so I was trying to figure out, what was I gonna do? Was I gonna go back to school and get my PhD, or do something completely different? And the completely different for me would have been writing. So after having my son, I don't know, something about having children kind of changes you a little bit. And for me, it was like, why am I wasting my life somewhere where I'm not completely happy? Because, you know, I, got this baby now, and when he gets older, I would love for him to know that, hey, like, it's okay if you change your mind and you're not just stuck in one place.
yeah.
So I reached out to a romance author who I adore. So those of you who don't know, next to comics, like, romance books are my jam. I just
Mm,
think that the women that write those books are so brilliant, because how do you keep someone coming back when they know what the ending is going to be? I think that takes a tremendous amount of talent and storytelling. So I reached out to her, and she wrote me back. Her name is Maureen Smith, and it was a really long and just beautiful email that just encouraged me to do that. So went out and got a new laptop, because I had that laptop since like my freshman year of college. So it was time for upgrade. And I started blogging. So I started talking about my experiences as a new mom, and kind of liken it to the pop culture stuff that I enjoyed. So,
mm-hmm.
your Ripleys, your Sarah Connors, all of these things. And went from that to podcasting. And the podcasting is when I really started to, I guess, really let the geekness show, because I started doing a podcast called Misty Nights Under Foreign Afro, where we took this academic this academic approach to talking about Black women in comics, because for some reason people were really only familiar with a Storm. If you
Yeah.
were lucky, Monica Rambeau or Misty Knight, maybe Amanda Waller, but mostly just Storm.
Yeah.
And for a lot of these characters, because they did not have their own, like their own series, their headlining series at the time, uh, a lot of folks just didn't know where to start with them. So I took it upon myself to, gather these women's stories and kind of do like these reading guides, and really get people interested enough to go check them out.
Okay.
So this podcast did so well that we got invited to the Kennedy Arts Center in 2018, which for the Art Summit, which I was like, oh, okay, so I'm taking this serious. Obviously, other people were taking this serious too. So that's pretty cool. So when the podcast ended, I had all this research for our upcoming season that we just never got to. But I knew I wanted to do something with this. So a friend of mine suggested that I start pitching to publications. So Sci-Fi was one of the first publications that I pitched to, and it was the evolution of Dora Milaje from comics to movies because Black
Yeah.
Panther had came out that year,
Nice.
and they absolutely loved the piece. I followed that up with it was Nightshade, Marvel's BDSM baddie.
Oh, I love
Because
Nightshade.
yes, I love the original Nightshade as well, and I just love the fact that she was forever tormenting Captain America, turning him into a
Mm-hmm.
wolf, and just on his nerves. But also, she was just really brilliant.
Oh yeah.
So next thing I knew, I was still working at this lab job, but I was right in between experiments. Right when I got home, and I became a regular contributor. So around 2019, or no, 2018, or no, yeah, 2019, I ended up leaving my job and got another job. There was like a little at home security situation. So I could still write. I left that, and my husband was like, you've been doing really well dedicating half your time to writing. Let's see
Yeah.
what you can do if you're able to dedicate full time. So once I left that
Hmm.
job towards the end of 2019, I I'm from Chicago, so I still got to do a little something on the side. So I did
Yeah.
start driving Lyft to at least start help with paying my artists because I also started doing web comics, so Parenthood Activate and But What If Though. Out of that came Living Heroes 2020 Kickstarter, and that did really well. And by the end of that year, I got an email from a editor at Marvel that was like, "Hey, you want to write something for Marvel Voices Legacy? You get 2 pages." I was like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
And it
Why not?
wasn't even yes, and it wasn't because of Living Heroes. It was because of an article that I wrote, the best butts and marvels from the 90s. It was like a little silly listicle that I did, but
No,
from
hold
what I
on.
was, yeah, yeah.
Pause.
Uh-huh.
I want to see that.
You want to see? Okay, so
So,
if you go to my website,
mm,
whystuff.com, and you
yeah.
go to articles, it will come up on my authoring page. But it is a listicle that I wrote, very serious academic situation where I researched to find the best butts from the 90s. And I think it's
Okay.
all male focused, but that's
That's
what.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, I mean,
That's perfect.
hey, we object. We are equal opportunity objectifiers.
Yeah, that's cool. Slack Pack, I will put a link to that in the comments, in the description. Of course, there'll be links to everything else we talk about, but I'll make sure to put a special section for the butts for y'all.
Yes, please do. So, um, I just was like, wow. I think that was a testament to me that putting yourself out there is really important. Honing your specific voice is very important
Hmm.
because it wasn't an actual comic that I wrote that got their attention. It was an article. So I did a Monica Rambeau story, as as you should do. We got two
Yep.
pages, and the week that came out, that's when I spoke to editor at DC Comics about some Amazons. Now, at the time, I had no idea that it was Nubia. I just thought,
Hmm.
like, we do a little Wonder Woman situation. Editor really enjoyed my first article that was published, The
Let me
Evolution of the
let
Dora
me put that
Milaje.
up.
Yeah,
Let me put
yeah.
that up so people can see this. There we go.
Yes. So the evolution of the Dora Milaje, she read that and she absolutely loved it and thought that, I could bring that energy to the Amazons, which I appreciated that she thought that way because to me, the Dora Milaje and the Amazons they had a lot of similarities in a way.
Absolutely.
So that made sense. So I wrote an 8-page story for Wonder Woman Black and Gold 2. And the editor is like, okay, so Vita wants to talk to you about your story. I'm like, okay, I don't want to waste Vita's time on 8 pages, but that's fine. Like, we can talk. So Vita and I spoke for an hour. And an hour into that conversation, Vita's like, okay, I know that you're good on this, but let's talk about like what you would like to do for Nubia. I'm like, what the hell do you mean? So
Huh.
that's actually that conversation is when I learned and it hit me that I would be working on the Nubia and the Amazon series. So it
Hmm.
was Surreal. I was not expecting such a huge task, such a major project
Yeah,
so
yeah,
fresh out the gate, because that just
yeah.
doesn't really happen.
It really doesn't. It's yeah.
No, sometimes if that, but that's not
Mm-hmm.
always the case for us. So I
Got that
was like,
right.
okay, bet. So very thankful that I got to kind of have like this mentorship under Vita, because that's also something that isn't very frequent in comics, at least for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Vita was like, yeah, we'll, get the story outline and stuff together, but so you can get your reps in, you're going to script this on your own. So I turned in that first script. It was awful, but it's okay. It was terrible. But once I, got notes and stuff back, I was able to apply it. And I think by the time we got to issue 3, my editor and also Vita was like, "You are a quick learner," which I
Mm-hmm.
was so appreciative of that, because I just like, my main goal in everything in life is to just get better. So Newbie and the Amazons happened, and I would say that the rest is history, because it's not. It's still history in the making. But we took some big swings with this series, introducing Bia, a Black trans woman who comes through the Well of Souls. And I just knew that I had no idea Nubia would be the only thing that I ever written, because you just don't know.
Yeah,
So
that's how the game works for sure.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. So I wanted to leave my mark in any way that I could and do something impactful. And hopefully, this character would not go back on the shelf like she had been for the last, decades
Yeah,
or
decades. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
she's from the. She was debuted
70s.
in the '70s, right? Yeah, that was her
She
first
sure did.
appearance, and
Yes.
yeah, that's a long time. But
Yeah.
and that was the funny part too about when this came out too. So many people, of course, were in an uproar, like they just making up Black Wonder Woman. Like, no, not really.
No,
No, no,
she's
that's she's been here.
she has been here. I actually had a gentleman last year when I was at Heroes Con. I was on a panel with Jean Ha and Colleen Duran, both of Wonder Woman legends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about, Nubia, my thought process, and all of these other things. And the very next day, he came to my table and he was like, I have to come over here because I had to apologize. I'm like, for what? He was like, well, I had it all wrong. I assumed that this was just like a cash grab and, just shoehorning in diversity and all this other stuff. And that was not the case. And also to learn so much about you and your process, like it just really changed my whole perspective. And I am just want to come over here and tell you that I apologize. And then he proceeded to buy damn near everything on my table. So
Okay, then.
the internet is one world,
Mm.
and then you getting out into the real world and things are a little bit different. So yeah, like Nubia
Mm.
and I have a lot more in common than I initially thought. Like I feel like as she made her rise and her reestablishing herself or reestablishing her for the
Mm-hmm.
DC universe, that was my moment, kind of asserting myself and saying, "Hey, I'm here in comics, and guess what? I'm here to stay. I'm going to be in more than just anthology books, and you're going to see me everywhere." And I would like to say, 4 years later, I have stuck to that.
That's right. That yeah, no, and you certainly have because we got a lot to talk about, and you're gonna see
Yeah.
like all these other projects that she has charged and other stuff that we'll get
Yeah.
to as well. But for now, do you remember this panel?
I do.
Okay.
And I remember the day that I wrote this because I just wanted to show like all of these diverse women together to
Mm-hmm.
show that, hey, times have changed and this is what the Moongirl looks like. If this is an island where women are supposed to be who have been harmed in man's world, then what are we saying if it looks kind of homogenous in one way?
Exactly.
And I didn't like that. And I also thought that if Nubia is going to be queen now, that let's bring it up to the times. And not saying that it wasn't like that before, but we were just going to be on Themyscira in this series. So it was very important for me to really show the diversity in women and really dig into what Amazon culture looks like. And I'm currently working on a project that allows me to do that even more.
Oh, okay. Y'all heard that? Like, just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Quick question:
Yeah. Yeah.
how much input did you have on like the design wise? Like, did you give like all sorts of notes to say like make sure you put this in here and like because the room itself that like all of the I noticed the diversity of the women and the
Hmm.
outfits and all that, but then the room is also like super dope and extravagant. So like,
It is. That is Aletha Martinez down. So of course I gave references, but like with anything, when I'm writing my scripts, I like to think of my panels as suggestions. Sometimes there are things that do need to happen, but comics is such a collaborative thing that I want to make sure that my collaborators are able to do just that and infuse. So I sent some references and just kind of like, hey, kind of go like this is the vibe we're looking for, but have at it. And of course, because Aletha Martinez is the veteran that she is, and just the amazing, outstanding artist that she is, this is why the scene looks so immaculate.
okay, yeah, it's pretty. I don't have the word, but I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just say I love it. How about that? And then I just found another panel, and I saw that this one captured a lot of emotion,
Hmm.
and in the words, and then like, was it hard for you sometimes? Like, did it invoke some like, as you said, you identify with this. Was this invoking feelings in yourself too when you?
It was because, in the times that we have seen Nubia appear prior to Nubia in the Amazon, she was always kind of othered. And she had been othered since her introduction, to be made as, Diana's or introduced as Diana's twin sister, one that we didn't know about, this other baby made of a darker clay and then kidnapped and just kind of forgotten about. And like sequestered away and
Mm-hmm.
raised on this floating island with a bunch of men to like fight. uh I remember there was a panel from I think 205, Wonder Woman 205, where we see Nubia away and she's having this moment of feeling lonely. Like she wants this sisterhood. She wants this community. And I remember when I read that, it made me feel some kind of way. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
so when we reintroduced Nubia, even though DC wanted us to change her origin, I was like, okay, well, what better way to kind of show like, hey, she was always meant to be an Amazon than to have her come through the Well of Souls, which I just thought was such a beautiful thing that George Perez introduced with originally the Cavern of Souls.
Yeah.
So to have her come out and then, be welcomed immediately by Magala and say, hey, like you're good, like you're where you're supposed to be.
Right.
For me, that was symbolically like, hey,
My
y'all
bad
make
for
yeah,
my bad for
this
being
is
late.
yeah, this is where you're supposed to be. So absolutely.
And then I have another one because you did the series too, but you also did the special, the coronation,
Hmm.
and I well, first of all, I own all of these,
Yeah, thank you.
and this cover I really liked, and then yeah, this is really cool, like because it was finally happening,
Yeah.
like it was like yo, they're going forward with this, and she's a G.
That wasn't in this coordination special, and even the series that came, the second mini series that came after that. Those were all things that I didn't necessarily know were going to happen. Like they weren't gimmies, but thankfully, I showed up and showed out the way that I needed to. That editorial was like, okay, like let's go move forward with the coordination special, and like also let's move forward with the second series. So
Mm,
again, just shout out to past Stephanie for putting her head down and putting in the work and just really proving like, yo, this is where I am supposed to be.
it must be a surreal, just like I mean, how do you feel about all of this? Like,
It Of course, happy and all these other things, but sometimes it is just kind of surreal when I just really sit down and think about it, because this is something that I had no idea could be a reality. This was a dream that was just a dream. It's not like I was like the career I had before. Like I love science.
I was gonna ask about that. I
Yeah,
was like, "There's no
like
way you just let that go
no.
altogether."
No, no, no. I love science. I've always been curious and always wanted to, push boundaries, test theories and things like that. But it was the safe pick, which sounds insane because, trying to take physics and organic chemistry was not was not easy, but it was something that I loved and I wanted to do. But I don't know, like, I just, raised, and I get it, like, parents want you to go off and be successful and something stable so that you're able to take care of yourself.
Right.
But I learned that even those tools of survival that I was taught, I could then transform those into tools to go above and beyond and further than I could imagine or they could have imagined. So still using those survival skills that they taught me, but applying them in this new creative event, this new creative lane, and figuring it out. And I am so thankful that I had an entirely different career before getting into comics, because I feel like it has allowed me to navigate this space in a way that I probably wouldn't have been able to do if it was something I would have just jumped right into.
Yeah.
Some of the pitfalls, because like comics is full of bull. It's full of bullshit,
Yes.
but it's not unique in that. That's
Oh, any industry.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Coming from the hospital, all the politics and stuff there, science in itself, PIs, like it's not unique in that.
No.
So I was prepared to deal with those types of obstacles. And be able to see BS a mile away and kind of avoid some things that I might have not been able to do had I not experienced it in a past life.
No, I get that.
Yeah, and then also all the skills and stuff like research. you know Not
Oh God. Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, like not every character, or because I do a lot of license work. So you're not necessarily a big fan or just familiar with everything that you're working on. But the thing is that this is your job. So
Yeah.
I take it upon myself to, deep dive and figure out what's what, and then how I can put my spin on it or infuse myself into the work. But it's funny being on this side of things, and then really seeing how things work versus before when I was just talking about comics. Two very different things. I'm just
Yeah.
thankful at that time that when I was just talking about comics, I still did it with some grace. Because now being on the other side, I'm like, oof, it was all wrong.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's eye
All wrong.
opening. It is
Yes.
eye opening as hell. And something actually I wanted to tell you too. One, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm also from Chicago.
Come on, yes, come on, Shy, yes.
And so I only moved to Portland in 2011.
Okay.
But yeah, born and raised, Chi-Town, all over the city. And I mean Chicago. I don't mean Chicagoland. I mean
No, no, no.
in the
I
city.
South Side. We
Yeah.
talking the Red Line, even
Yep.
West Side, which wasn't always a fan of heading that way. But my grandmother,
Yeah.
great grandmother, stayed over there, and
Yeah. I had people over there too.
yeah, so was out that way. But like in Beverly and different places like that, Bronzeville,
Oh,
the
I
Hunnets.
I lived in Harvey for a bit.
So Harvey is actually where I was born. Like we moved back there. So Harvey World altogether. Did not go to Thornwood. 'Cause Mom said absolutely not.
Hmm.
Ended up going to Bremen instead. But yeah, 16 yeah, 1608 South Page. Right
Yeah.
off of Halsted.
Dang.
159. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Look at that. I was all over the place. Me and Mom's moved all over the place. Like at one point, I was on 76 and Stony,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had people over on 74th and Vincennes. And
Yes.
that's what over there. And then we went to the west side. Then we went to Cabrini Green, and then we ended up
Uh-huh.
all the way on the north side in Rogers Park.
Are you kidding? So I lived in Park briefly, my junior and senior year of high school. In fact, 1246 West Pratt. Right, yeah, right. It was I think one of
That's
the tallest buildings on the street, but whatever that high rise was, we were on the 11th floor.
I lived in a high rise.
Oh, we might have been neighbors and didn't know it
I
because I
lived,
moved down
yeah.
to North Carolina in 2012. We lived there, I think, from 2009 to 2011 or 10.
Holy crap, we were neighbors. Like I lived there around that time.
Yes.
I used to manage the movie theater
I used to
across
go
the
to
street.
that movie theater. Yes. So
That's
small,
hilarious.
small world.
Oh my god, yeah,
Because I thought that movie theater was so cute. I said, "Oh, it's right in walking distance. I can
yeah.
have me a little, a little Lifetime afternoon and
That's
go
how I
to
got
the
the job
movies."
there.
Yeah,
That's how I was going to the movies. Like, I'm not doing nothing
yeah,
now. I'll just go to the movies. But that's funny. Wow, look at that. But I also wanted to mention too. I understand what you were saying about like getting into the business and having a different perspective after you're in it,
hmm
because when I moved to Oregon, I was just a comic fan,
yeah,
and I had no idea that all of these comic publishers were here.
yeah.
So imagine my surprise when I get hired at Things from Another World / Dark Horse, and I get to see
hmm
how the cookies are made, and I'm like, man, yeah, I was all wrong. This is not.
Yeah,
This is,
like when a project is announced, the person isn't the creative team isn't just now working on it. Like, three or four issues have already been written, or hell, it might even be done. So it's always kind of funny now, like when something is announced and fans are like, "You should do this and you should do this." I'm like, baby, it's already been written.
right. That was 6 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you came up with that now, but
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I wanted to get back into it because you mentioned, all the things, some of the other things that you've been into, and I'd love to touch base on this project here because I
Yes.
love this concept. I
Thank
think it's
you.
hilarious and this is cute, but I want to know what made you do this.
So I wish anytime someone asks me this, I'm like, I wish I could give you like some deep response, but I don't. It was simply a because Stephanie wanted to land a joke. So I skipped over my whole meme situation on Twitter because I think that's where a lot of folks know me from. My X-Men memes. So I take still shots, and that's actually where I started to really learn how to write comics because of that.
Okay.
So this is I'm writing articles. I think I was working on a piece about Charles Xavier, whom y'all all know I'm an avid Charles Xavier hater, and I was rereading the Dark Phoenix.
Charles!
Yes, the Phoenix Saga, and Living Single had just came to streaming. That's something that we were all waiting on. So I was reading. I have a bad habit, or maybe it's a good habit, but of watching TV and reading comics at the same time. So watching Living Single, kind of reading the Dark Phoenix Saga, or the same Phoenix Saga in total. But I got to the point where Misty and Jean are roommates, and I completely forgot about that. And I was like, this is such an interesting concept. But then Jean dies, and I'm like, oh, well, the Phoenix Force damn sure isn't paying rent. So, like, what is Misty gonna do? Now, Misty does end up getting another roommate. She's like a model or whatever. But
Yeah.
because I was watching Living Single, I was like, it'd be kind of funny if Misty had to move in with Storm, and Storm had ties to Harlem because of her paternal side or her father's family. I was like, what if they
Right.
left her like a brownstone or something? And then the next thing I knew, I was writing a script for a one pager of Living Heroes, kind of like a pilot episode where Misty shows up and Storm's there, Monica is there, and then She-Hulk is there, not just
Yeah.
because she's a lawyer and Maxine is a lawyer, but they also have some similarities that I was like, okay, all of this makes sense. This isn't just me trying to bring these two things together randomly. Like there are some connections here.
Right.
Storm absolutely could be a Regine. Monica Rambeau could absolutely be Khadijah. And it just came together so beautifully. And shout out to Erin O'Neill Jones because I remember hitting her up and I was just like, hey, would you be interested in some more foolishness? Because the very first thing that we did together was a one pager where Vixen and Batman are like at the Justice League Tower, and Batman has not realized that her ability to change her hair is not her superpower. That's just her being a black woman.
Oh
But
my
he has it in his contingency plan. So, and the Flash is like, Bruce, you know that's not part of her power set. He's like, yeah, I knew that. You did.
Well, what do you expect from that billionaire? He don't know.
Yeah. Even though, well, depending on which Catwoman, he probably wouldn't know. So
True
it
that.
just it came together. People really went up for this first page. We did a second page, Power Couples Court, that came out like literally
This is
uh
hilarious.
what was it, 2020, on like January 1st. Because again, like I just thought it was funny, even though the beef between Reed and Namor and Sue isn't what we've built it up to be. That's not really how it goes down in the
Right.
comics. It's still funny. So I wanted to lean into that, and next thing I knew, people were asking for more, but because it costs, like, you should pay your contributors. So I was like, hey, Erin, if we do a Kickstarter and I'm able to pay you, like, would you want to do more of this? And she was down. And next thing I knew, we were doing a
Hmm.
Living Heroes Kickstarter, and it funded in a little over 24 hours. So I said, wow, y'all really want more of this.
Well, yeah, it's a
So
great idea.
yeah, because the other thing is, because I was doing all of these deep dives and stuff on these women, I was like, damn, they rarely ever get to like interact with one another unless it's Black
Hmm.
History Month or something happened near Wakanda or
Or it's in
Blade,
game.
or it's Endgame, or everybody happens to be in New Orleans with Blade and all of this. And I was like, it'd be really
Yeah.
nice to kind of see these women just sharing space.
Yeah.
And because Misty, Storm, and Monica to me are Marvel's big three when it comes to Black women, we can add Riri and Moongirl to that, but I just thought it would be great. And then She-Hulk is always been a white woman of color to me, literally, and also
Yeah.
in her attitude. And I just thought that she would fit. And also, I just love that her and Monica Rambeau always had that friendship from Monica's days when she was with the Avengers. So
Exactly. Yeah.
again, it just all made sense. And then why would I not want to make Sam Wilson a himbo? So I thought he would be
Right.
great as Overton, to kind of see Sam this other way. And then of course I want to bring Wyatt Wingfoot in as Maxine's hate him, love
And love
him.
him. Yep.
Yeah. So it just all happened to come together, and like that has been my creative process since then. Like I still do that to this day. Think of other things and just get inspired by stuff that already exists, because there really is nothing new under the sun. The only difference is there is no one that can tell a story the unique way that you
Way that you
can.
can. Right. It's all about the
Hmm.
presentation. By the way, I love the fact that the thing is over there with a V-neck and a chain.
Yeah, I
So
told Aaron, I was like, let's jazz this up a little bit. So yeah.
yeah. And this is just a little taste for you slackers to look at. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. You should really go check it out on the website.
Yeah, Global Comics. You can
Global
read it there
Comics.
for free. If you catch me at a convention, I always have these books because people are either asking for them, or they'll see that on the table and they're like, is this what I think it is? I'm like, it sure is. It's Living Single
I
Meets
was going to
Marvel.
say this is something you kind of have to keep in print,
Yes,
especially now that they have their own podcast.
exactly. And I said, what better timing? So
Yeah.
yeah, like you can get that from me directly, or again, like you can read it for free. My favorite thing is letting folks know, like, hey, you can read this for free, and then I'm still coming back to my table and saying, no, I want to get the physical copy. So I just think that's really dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm one of them. I want the
Yeah, I
physical copy.
appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. I want a physical copy. I want a couple physical copies actually. I got to give this out to people. Um, there was another project you worked on, and I wanted to talk about this because I think that this speaks to your previous career being mixed in with your current
Yeah,
career. Like this is the most Stephanie thing
man,
I
this
can think of.
and that is correct. Who knew that all of those character deep dives that I was doing would pay off one day? And shout out to Brandon Snyder. He's another author who basically, when Randall reached out to him, my editor on this book, he was like, this might not be good for me, but I know exactly who this is good for. And it was me. And Randall happened to be a big fan of what I did with Nubia. So I was like, I get to read superhero comics all summer and work on this. Absolutely. So he told me what, like, the premise of the book and everything was. Originally the name was Hell Yeah Peacemaker, in a long sentence after that. And they settled on
Oh
Strange
wow.
Unsung. Yeah. And it
Okay.
was great. DC sent me this hard drive that I still got that hard drive. Y'all are never getting that back. But it has all they're never getting that back. It has all the books all the way up into 2016, I believe. So everything, like every
Damn.
single thing, is it's such a really great archival piece to like own. But I got to go through and like read as much stuff that I could. And yeah, like I came up with my list of weirdos, and then of course DC had their own list, and we just kind of brought it together. But the one that almost broke my brain was definitely Black Racer, because Jack Kirby was just so big brain in the characters that he brought. I said, now how the hell am I supposed to give
Right.
a broad picture on this character who is literally the embodiment of death? It's just so beautifully done.
Yeah.
But I figured it out. But this was, I just had so much fun on this. Like you said, like this is, you want to know Stephanie and her writing and like humor and stuff, is this piece. So I'm so proud of this.
Yeah.
And I got
It's
to meet
yeah.
John Cena.
Dope. Was he nice?
He was so nice.
Yeah, I thought so. He seems like a nice guy. Coincidentally, that picture right there of Matter Eater Lad was my profile
Uh-huh.
picture for a long time
As it should be.
because he was weird, and I was like, yeah, I feel weird like this guy.
You know what, the person who surprised me the most, and I thought they had a little bit more history than they did, was Arm Fall Off Boy. He has not been in that many comics, so it is my I feel like it's my due diligence that maybe one day I'll do like a Matter Eating Lab mini or something like that.
Right.
Not Matter Eating Lab, I'm sorry, Arm Fall
No,
Off Boy,
I'm fall off
because
boy. Yeah.
he doesn't have a lot. And then also, like, DC's cosmic stuff is just so vast and in
Oh
depth.
boy.
That is like that could be a whole other country,
Right.
company. It really
I mean,
could.
honestly, you could do a whole other book like this just on
Yes,
cosmic stuff, and it would have to
yes,
be 2 to 3 volumes because then
it
you got to
sure would.
consider the multiverse, and then
Yeah,
oh, I'm
it gets real wild. So I don't. I
I'm getting
think I really
anxiety thinking about it.
I know. I nerded out in like the best way. I think we were like even on vacation at one point, and after we came back from the theme park, I was like, "Well, gotta read some comics because I gotta get this next batch in." So it's just a really great project, and I'm just so happy I got a chance to do it.
Sweet. That is yeah. That's my kind of thing too. I like the strange stuff, and I like to read the weird one-off character guys, and like I like this.
Yeah,
I love to see them get the attention sometimes, even when they're terrible. Sometimes the character is terrible, but I want to see how they get
dog
used.
welder, because because when I read the name, I was like,
Way,
"There's no way." And then it was
yeah.
Captain Triumph, whose powers literally come from his dead twin brother's soul who inhabits him. I'm like, now he got the Holy Ghost, and that's how he got his powers.
Right, she's got the Holy Ghost. Yeah. Well, even like a character like what was it? I mean, he's not weird, but Mad Dog started showing up
Yes,
places around the mid
like,
two thousands.
excuse
I was
me.
so surprised. Like, it's just a dude in a
Hmm.
hockey mask with some like bats and guns, But like, he showed up on the Arrow show, and then he was in Cave Carson, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, Golden Glider right now on the Kite Man animation. Like
yes,
I said, okay, I love that for her. So and at the time, no idea that James Gunn was going to take over for the DC entertainment side of things. He just so happened to write the foreword for that. So around the time that got announced, my book got announced, and I was like, couldn't have been better timing. So of
mm-hmm,
course, a lot of characters that are in that book are now getting their just due, especially the Creature Commandos.
yep, absolutely. Which was a great show, by the way. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was sad, but it was great. So, Now this next project, you know, I have some specific questions about this one.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so if you can see on the screen, this is Moongirl, Devil Dinosaur. Really, one of my favorite characters. Period. Because Moongirl is considered to be what one of the. She's in the top 5 of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. Correct.
Yes.
Right. And she's just so fun and spunky. But like, so I noticed this is a Scholastic book, but you're a mom. So
Yeah.
did you have to invoke being a mom into writing this because this is for younger adults, or how did you do this? How did you transition from Nubia to the encyclopedia to Moon Girl?
So, a
Mind frame
couple
wise,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, a couple things. So yes, being a mom definitely helps. And then also, I just really love storytelling.
Okay.
And because of that, I found that it has allowed me to kind of hop all over the place, which makes me really happy because we haven't even gotten to the fact that I'm writing a cosmic horror right now. But
I knew it.
see, yep.
That
So,
was my. I was going to ask you that. I was like, "There's no way that Stephanie Williams is not going to take this comic writing with a little bit of science and come up with some
oh,
future project."
I am
Anyway,
going balls to the wall. We'll get into that.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
But Wreck and Roll was it was great. So basically, what ended up happening is before the show had came out, they knew they were going to have a companion book, and this was basically an episode that did not get made into an episode. All I had was like the premise basically. So Lunella joins a roller derby team. Then she finds out that the team, is not necessarily on the up and up and is unfortunately tied in with our villain of the week. So they sent me that and they were like, okay, well, figure the rest out. So I had to figure the rest out, which was fun. I got to watch the show before it aired and I got to watch it with my son. And I really loved that because I think he was in either kindergarten or first grade at the time. So my name, he had never seen, like, we never watched screeners together. So my name is plastered over. He was like, man, they got your name. You can't remove that. I'm like, I can't, because the whole thing is that they want to know that if I share this, mommy will get in trouble. So he's like, I can't talk to anybody about it. I was like, you can't. He's like, okay, it's our secret. So that was really cool.
Oh,
And just kind of getting watching him watch it and like what things he gravitated towards, which is the entire thing. Like Moongirl, the animated series, was just such a brilliant piece of work. And I actually got to meet the storyboard director at Heroes Con randomly, another Black woman, before I even knew that I would be working on anything like this. So maybe it was meant to be. But I just thought it was just great. And I was like, man, I really wish something like this existed when I was younger. So it was very easy to just kind of slide into this world and write the story for her because it's just so dope. Like, her family owns a roller rink.
right.
Again, we just talked about being from Chicago. So I know for
Rainbow.
me, like going to the Rainbow,
Rainbow.
going to the one that was in Harvey was another one.
Yeah, I went to that one. Yeah.
Yes, but that was big. So I immediately connected with the character because of that. And I don't know, like it was just really good and fun to just write this story that, we have this superhero who is trying to do what she can in her community and, handle things a little bit differently. And the team that she ends up joining, I was like, well, I really love Bring It On. And I love the East Compton Clover. So like, let's bring some influence from that because I saw some parallels between those two teams essentially. So I really loved working on this book. Had no idea who Asia was. Asia didn't know who I was until
I was
the
going to ask that
announcement.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we both found out, and the rest is kind of history on there because we worked together again. But it was just really cool to know that another Black woman was working on this book. She was like, when I saw those Fenty codes for the skin tone, she was like, well, I don't know who this is, but I know it's got to be a Black person, and it just so happened to be me. So it worked out.
So yeah, imagine my surprise when I'm doing my regular Rose City thing and I see both you and Asia there, and I'll be honest, I'll be honest, like I don't fanboy or geek out or nothing, but inside my head I was like, oh shit, both of them is here, and I wasn't ready. I tried to put.
they surprised us. Because
Yeah.
we're also, and we've done some other conventions together since then. In fact, Heroes Con, we are sitting right next to each other again this year.
Dope.
So you get a 2-for-1.
I played it cool though, y'all. Don't get me wrong.
He
I'm
did. He
still
not lying.
Cerius Blaq, and I kept my professionalness and even arranged a cool photo, and we did it, y'all. But I was really happy to meet both of y'all. It's I'm a big fan of your work and of her work, and just it was a good moment for me, I'll say.
I'm glad that it was.
So I feel like we still have a lot to talk about because there's been little hints around the web of certain things. You got some other stuff coming up. Now, one I saw on Facebook, so I know that we can talk about this. I'm gonna put it up, and then you just have to give me the go. Like what happened here?
Oh man! So the day that I got the email, I was getting my nails done. So I was like, sick. And I got the email, and it was like the header, the subject was new potential IP or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was working on some My Little Pony stuff, and like I opened the email and I saw Street Sharks, and I was like, wait, what? So I wrote back. I was like, I'm gonna send back a more professional email, but right now I need a moment because I'm losing it because Street Sharks was my brother and I's jam. We were Saturday morning cartoon kids, and between this, Cowboys, Moo Mesa, SWAT
Oh my God!
Cats,
I was gonna say SWAT Cats got to get mentioned. Yeah.
Biker Mars for Mars.
Yeah.
Basically all these things that were kind of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but not.
Yep.
Loved it. And of course, Streaks was my face because he had the skates, and that's a '90s thing, so gotta love it. But I think before I even answered the email back the professional way, I had text my brother, so we talked for a little bit. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." So so they asked for some pitch ideas, and I knew from working with Hasbro, like when you're working with the licensor, and it's usually a toy licensor, things can get a little interesting.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's not just doing what you want, because you can't do that. Like, this is a client, so I knew that I had to make sure I did something that would be attractive to them, and then I could do a little bit more of what I wanted once the series started, and whatever. So sent that, and then because it's with the licensor, it took forever to get back. So I'm like, damn, is this still happening? So finally, in December of last year, they got back to me and was like, this is the editor who's actually going to be over this project. Y'all are going to talk, and so on and so forth. So Nick and I spoke, and basically asked them, like, hey, what are they looking for, so that I can make sure that my outline for the series speaks to that. So we talked about it, and originally I think they wanted the issues to kind of be retellings of episodes. I'm so happy they did not go that direction, because
me too.
We
Don't
want
do
new
that.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then they wanted it to be something else that just wouldn't have worked comics wise. So they finally decided on basically it still being in show, but just episodes we didn't get. And I was like, oh, I could do that all day.
Okay.
So went back to really immerse myself in the series. Now, still love Street Sharks down. However, when I was 7, 8,
it's never the same.
No, it's not, because even my son, I tried to show it to him, and he was like, okay, this is cute, girl, but you good. So
he was like, I gotta go do my homework.
Yes. He was like, I get the vision, but call me when they update the animation. I was like, you know what, you're real for that. I get it. But I wanted to capture all the things that I loved about Street Sharks, and because it's so extreme 90s, they're in your face, very fun do bro type situation, and
Rad to the max.
Rad to the max, okay? Extreme with the big X. So I kind of took that energy and just went with this. So I did the outline, and this is a rarity because often there are a lot of notes from licensors, but they accepted that first outline. So I was like, I got it. So
Okay.
from there, we got to work, and in fact, before I even got the go ahead, I saw that Mattel had Street Sharks dad hats that they were selling. I was like, I'm gonna buy this,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that I will be writing this series. So I bought it, and then like the day it delivered, I got the email from Nick, my editor. It was like, hey, we're a go. So I'm about to send you the schedule. This is the artist that you'll be working with, and like this is what we're doing. And it has just been such a fun project to work on, because for me, this is not something that I thought I would be able to do, right? Because usually when projects like this happen, it's usually the usual suspects that get a chance to like really lean into like this really cool thing. But I knew that
Yeah.
Melissa Flores had been doing her thing with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then also she had did Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah.
And because Melissa Flores was doing her thing with that, I was like, okay, this is, I can absolutely do what I need to with this. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so cool. Like, would I like to write a Storm series? Absolutely. But I think me writing Street Sharks is even more important, because it's just something that is out of the norm, and I want to be in this space in a way that anyone who is trying to get in this space, especially another Black woman, is just like, yo, I'm always going to write Black women and young Black girls. Like that's a given. But there are
Word.
other things and other interests that I have, and Street Sharks happens to be one of them.
Right.
So I've
And
seen online like she's gonna make them black. I'm like, I can't, because it's
what?
license it's license
I
work.
mean, yeah.
Also, Moby Lick exists, so I can, he will show up at some point.
Exactly.
But yeah, like y'all do not have a commodity on, or monopoly, I should say, on being just the only ones that like cool, weird stuff. Like other
Exactly.
folks do too.
Yeah.
And I'm a storyteller. This is my job. Even if I wasn't a huge Street Sharks fan, I would have figured it out. So
Exactly.
I, yeah, I
I
was just
think
really
people
excited about
often make
this.
comments like that because they wouldn't do it right, and they know it.
Yeah,
Because they would
I'm like,
do exactly what they accuse writers of doing. That's how.
yeah,
That's their process. Um,
yes. Because your fanfic is great, sure, but again, like once I really got comfortable with considering this is a job, and I think it's okay to say that, even though it's a creative job, one that I love
oh, it's a
doing,
job.
it's still a
Absolutely.
job.
Yeah.
So because it's still a job, I still have clients, and I still have to make sure that I am checking off the boxes, or basically giving them the product that they're paying me to do. So it's gonna get figured out, and whatever fanfic I had, maybe I can put in a little bit of that stuff. But like, you got to tell a story, and you have to make your client happy at the end of the day. So don't worry about it. I got it.
Right. And if and when it comes a time where you need to introduce a new element or something like that, it's
Hmm.
not like they're not going to look at that first.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And because, and the other thing I've learned that in this business, again, like when you're doing work for hire stuff, and it's, licensed work, if you do some of the things that is being asked of you, you will be amazed at the leniency, and turning the other way to let you do some other stuff. I think that's how I'm able to, no matter what I'm writing, no matter how different it is, you still get me in that, because I'm
Okay.
able to, I figured that out.
I mean, and I'm glad you did.
Because it's
Because
hard. It's
it,
not an easy thing.
no, not at all. Not at
No.
all. So I have some other images that you were
Mhm.
kind enough to send me,
Of
but I
course.
don't know what this is. So I'm going to just pick one.
Okay.
And wait, two things before we go on to this. Side note, back to Moongirl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Hasbro, make me the action figures already. Quit playing with me, okay?
Let's get on it, please.
Right?
Funko Pops are nice, but we can't
Give me
really
the
do nothing with them.
Moongirl with the skates, and they better move with the little wheels, or have
Yes.
different shoes. Make the skate shoes with springs and rockets, and then give me the big ass dinosaur. Like, let's
Yes.
do it. I will buy it if you make it.
I would even
Okay?
take an RC car version of that, where she's riding the back of
Oh
Devil.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be. I didn't even
'Cause
think of that.
that would be a Toys R Us special.
That's a good idea. Wow. Okay, yeah, get on that. Um, and actually, I was hoping we would get a Nubia figure too with
That
McFarlane.
might still happen.
Okay, I'm
She
just
could
making. I'm
get
just okay.
she may pop up again. So
Okay,
it's on the way.
sweet. I'm a huge action figure guy, by the way.
Yeah,
So
same.
yeah,
And statues and all that. Yes.
yeah. I gotta yeah. All right, I'm gonna add this to the stage,
All right.
and
Yes. So these are our real gods of Olympus from Warriors in a We Wonder. Another project that was recently announced, and it's a project that I am so happy that is in existence. This is me kind of taking that energy from Living Heroes and actually finally being able to do something officially with it. So last summer, I think like in July, I cold pitched. So last year was me cold pitching and just doing a lot of stuff that I didn't do before
okay,
in my career. And a lot of those seeds are now bearing fruit. And this is one of them. So I cold pitched my editor on Nubia and I was like, hey, so just sending this to you, but I would like, would you be interested in like a Tales of the Amazon situation? So I was gonna do, it was gonna be like a mini series, basically comprised of one shots for various characters. So one for Philippus, one for Hippolyta and Antiope, one for Nubia, Bia, and Artemis. And it was just gonna be these stories that focused on these women and like I don't ways that we haven't seen them before. So Philippus
okay,
and just kind of seeing that softer side of her, Nubia,
yeah.
her adventures in Doom's Doorway, Artemis. I hadn't figured it out, but I was like, I'll figure it out when the time comes. And then Hippolyta and Antiope and getting into that sisterhood between them. So editor was like, do love this, but just to be real with you, like the likelihood of this getting a green light for floppies is probably not that high. Because again, this is a business.
Okay.
But still shout out to this editor because at the time had no idea that DC Go was a thing, but that was something that was being worked on in the background. So it's like, I think you should pitch it this way or pitch it to DC Go. So she put me in contact with my editor on Warriors in Wonder, Sabrina Fooch, and we kind of gotten together to like basically take my original pitch and get it to this. So I
To
knew for
DC Go.
DC
Okay.
Go that they wanted something that was kind of catchy, a little gimmicky, and I was like, okay, I can do that all day long. So I
I do
still want to
think,
be
yeah.
yeah. I was like, I still the whole idea here is to still show these women in a different light and to continue to explore Amazon culture in a way that we haven't. And I was like, yeah, Babysitters Club, right? Like I knew
Exactly.
that Diana was going to be a selling point, but Diana, Wonder Woman, is just so huge that she can detract sometimes. And I was like, if she's a
Hmm.
toddler, we get to kind of not even minimizing her, we just get to see the Amazons
she's so
interact with her. Because what
she's
does
so
that?
cute.
Yes, because what does that look like, right?
Yeah.
And this was also a way for me to kind of infuse Parenthood Activate into this and all the things
Mm-hmm.
that I have been working on in the past, and this is the product. So I did that pitch, and Sabrina did what she needed to do during the monthly pitch meeting, and got the yes from Jim Lee, and Warriors in a We
Crazy.
Wonder is yeah,
That's what's up. I'm
and
I'm all about it because I love me some like slice of life. First of
yes.
all, and like oh yeah, DC Go is it makes sense because like this is the kind of stuff I read when I go on Webtoon too.
Yes,
So
exactly. And then the other thing too is like, of course, you want to have a floppy and stuff out there, but I also understand that for me at least, like I just want to get new readers into comics. So if
yeah,
that is by way of a webtoon scrolling format, let's go for it because my hope is that for newcomers to check this out, even folks who have been fans of Wonder Woman, that it will make them go and say, let me check out the other catalog of stuff that they have on the DC Infinite app. And maybe let me go to my comic book store and check this out. Because in this business, no project is too small. They all count, and because they all count, and you just don't know when someone's gonna that whatever you write is their first time interacting with you and your writing. You want to
that's
bring
true.
it, so I don't even want to say I'm just happy to be here, just but I am. But this is Warriors in a We Wonder is Stephanie to the fullest, and my collaborators have been amazing on this. Jane, Ariana, and Emily Pearson. We got her in for a couple episodes, and everyone has just have been having such a really great, fun time. The email exchanges, the threads are some of the funnest that I've had a chance to kind of be a part of, because we're making something that to me is comics at its finest. Like, this is what hopefully gets folks to pick up more comics, because at the end of the day, like that's what I want to do. Because we don't have new readers, then this business is going to fall flat.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we got to bring in new folks, and kind of gotta get creative. Sometimes stuff that works, and some of the old stuff that doesn't work anymore. So
Yeah.
it's time to evolve.
Well, I also think that too that this kind of thing also lends itself to being put into print as a collection
Oh, for
later down
sure.
the
This will be
line.
going to print.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
like,
for a
yeah,
fact that it'll be
yeah,
going
we
to
going to
print.
print. Okay, word up,
Yeah.
good. That's what I was
Yeah.
hoping you say. Ha ha.
Yes, and putting this out here, it has not been confirmed or anything like that, but I really do believe we're going to get a second season, because what we're doing with this project, there really isn't anything like it, at least for Wonder Woman. So I'm just so incredibly proud of it, and I can't wait for people to get into it. I
It
even
looks
got to
like.
tell the story of Diana's birth, and I did it the Stephanie way,
Ooh.
and it came together beautifully. And also just further cementing Diana and Nubia's connection in this too in a very beautiful way, and throwing my girl
Okay.
Philippus in there. So I'm very excited for y'all to read that
I'm
when it's
excited
out.
to read. I'm looking forward to that. I would really love
Yeah.
to see that, especially in this spin, in this art style, and then the way
Hmm.
you describe it. I'm sure it's going to be great. And
Oh, the
yeah.
visuals are insane.
Oh man. Okay. Wow. All right, Slack Pack. Well, you heard it here. We got a lot coming from Stephanie.
Hmm. You sure do.
Yeah, she's like hitting all your nostalgia. So I'm gonna wrap it up here soon because I made you talk so much. I
No,
made you
it's all
talk
right.
so much. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's still early. I'm glad you're having fun. One of the things I like to ask people is like, is there anybody? What? Okay. What? First question.
Hmm.
Is there an IP that you would just love to be able to work on if they were just like here?
So originally that would have been Alien, but I finally got my chance to do an Alien short story. So I would like to do more. I'm
Okay.
obsessed with that world, like the novelizations, all that. Like my Audible subscription looks insane because of it.
Oh Lord.
Um, you know, I don't know,
Okay.
because yeah, I don't know. Because some of the stuff is kind of happening right now. So would have
Mm-hmm.
to find something new. But no, I mean, I just want to be able to tell more stories. So whatever that
Word.
is, I'm gonna figure it out. But currently at this moment, there is no specific IP that I'm just like, I gotta get in on that.
Okay. Word up. Uh, can you think of a book or a project by someone else that you would recommend?
Absolutely. Crap. Okay, so two of them. One of them is Jared Melendez, Chef's Kiss. I bring that up
Mm,
because I just really love that book. It is such a comfort read, and
okay.
it's just so cozy. And I just thought it was so smart and brilliant. And then also, what have I just recently read? It was a little short story. It is by Christian Herrera. I'm saying his last name wrong. And Shadia Amin. It was a short 12-page story, Black Cat and Spider Woman or Spider Girl,
Ooh. Okay.
that they gifted to me when I was at MomoCon. I just really loved it, and I hope that they get to write and draw those characters at some point. That was a really fun project, and I feel like there's something else that I'm missing, but it's not a comic book related. But Jeff Vandermeer's Absolution, so book 4 in the
Mm,
Area X trilogy, because I go up for that, and then of course Stephen Graham's was it The Last or No Good Indians is the book,
Oh
but those are
yeah.
those are the two. But some artists whose work I think is you can go out and support. Ryan Oakley, of course, Asia Simone, Asia Fullmore, Sarah Macklin just launched Burning Press, and
Mm.
there is a Kickstarter that will be out soon. So basically, it's all these fantasy stories about Black women told by Black women. I'm very happy to be a part of that project. So I hope y'all support it. But yeah, like there's a lot. Um,
I'll be
yeah,
buying
there,
that.
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot.
I'll be buying that for sure. Okay. Dang. Oh, that was some good recommendations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have more, but just she's all over the place. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
romance Rex for you as well.
Of
Danielle
course you
Allen's,
do.
of course, Danielle Allen's plus size player, I think just came out this week. Check
Mm,
that out. Of course, my fave, Reese Ryan, Rebecca Weatherspoon. So, like, if you've been able to see Beyonce in concert, unfortunately, I have not been able to see her this year because every week that she's had a concert, I've had a commitment. So,
mm.
boo Beyonce.
They're
I
doing
think
it
you
on
should get
purpose.
that
It's
to
a
me. I
conspiracy.
know it's a conspiracy, but she has a cowboy series that I think you should check out if that's your thing. And I'm
Okay.
always going to shout out the amazing Beverly Jenkins because, funny enough, one of her contemporary books, and I know she's known for her historical romance. One of her contemporary romance books actually inspired a historical or a book that I wrote that takes place in 1905 that I'm doing with Ignition Press. And I said I would never ever write anything past 1980, and I lied to myself. So thank you, Beverly
Mm,
Jenkins, for making a liar out of me. And that's the Cosmic Horror. Very excited.
there we go. Okay. I
You
was
all will get a peek at that at SDCC, the first 8 pages. So yeah, I got 2 ash cans, one for Street Sharks and one for the creator owned thing. And real quick, got a project with Mad Cave that's creator owned. Doing that with Asia Fullmore, and DJ Chavez is on colors. But that is you getting a chance to see Stephanie in her action adventure. It's a time cop situation. So think time
mm.
cop. If Roland Emmerich directed it, and
Oh Lord.
Vivica A. Fox was our main character. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's all over the place. So I mean,
All right.
it all makes sense, but
You
that
know
was some of
what?
the influence. Yeah.
I've decided now, Slack Pack, I gotta have Stephanie back on just to talk about
Yes,
movies and TV.
please.
Apparently, we'll have her back in the future, maybe after SDCC or something like that. But she's a
Yes.
deep well of nerddom that I need to, you know, need to explore a little bit more. Wow. So thank you for that. Thank you for the
Oh, you're very
recommendations.
welcome.
Thank you for doing this interview with me for the Slack Pack, and I know they appreciate it. Is there anything you would like to say to my audience before we dip on out of here? Anything like?
Yes. I know how attractive and fun it is sometimes to talk about things that we don't like, but I would really like to encourage you all to just really talk about the stuff that you really enjoy and you're loving. And also, like, I hope that you are able to create the things that you want to see because I firmly believe that we are all storytellers. Storytelling does
Yeah.
not belong to the few, it belongs to the many. And I just want to encourage you to like, really get into the things that you love because you know about the stuff that we don't like. Let's
Yeah.
it's okay to talk about the stuff that you're really enjoying. And I don't even mean about talking about that online, just people that you are in community with, but give us those good recs. I also would like to see some good recs.
Word up.
Because yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good note to end on, y'all. I can't agree more. Um, I try to embody that practice, and so I'm glad
Oh,
that
you
you
do,
said that.
yes.
I like to talk about what I like, and if I don't like something, I just try to keep it to myself,
Yeah.
and because somebody else likes it, and I don't need the shit on it.
Yeah.
I don't need the poop on the
No,
dreams.
you
I don't need
don't.
to. Um, Unless it's super racist, then I'm gonna talk about it all
Well,
day.
yeah, then that's totally different. Yeah, now we definitely got to say something about that. But
Right, like yeah, unless it's real misogynistic or racist or homophobic, I'm
then we gotta go. Then
yeah,
all niceness is off. We go
oh yeah,
low,
yeah. I turn that
and
off.
we figured it out. Yes.
All right, folks, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. I will see y'all later on my channel. Make sure to check all the links that I put in the description to follow Stephanie and look at more of her work. And like with what she says you got coming up, you're gonna need to follow along because I don't know if I can keep up. So I'll be
Please.
bookmarking some things.
Yes, because when a project begins, I'm already working on the next thing. So more to come.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna give you peace and get on out of here. Peace, y'all. Take it easy.